You're listening to This Is My Side Hustle. The tips, tools, and advice you need to optimize your life live here. If you're looking to unlock the secrets to additional income by engineering your choices around your ideal lifestyle, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and join us as we unpack unconventional ideas and methods to give you more freedom and flexibility. Let's escape the rat race together and live with intention. Let's learn how others are making it pay with their side hustles.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of This Is My Side Hustle. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 rankings, or the top 10 things you need to do to be ranked on Google. So the top 10 Google ranking factors to get found on Google when you have a website. So whether you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a freelancer, work at home, anybody who wants to get a job, or you have a small business that's local and brick and mortar, these are the top 10 things you need to do to get ranked highly in Google. And I see a lot of people not keeping up with the constant changes in Google. And I do this for a lot of my clients because they set up a website several years ago and they just let it be. So they hire a web designer for several $1,000s. Half the time the web designer doesn't do what they need to do to begin with. And then they're wondering why they're not being found when somebody types something into Google. And Google is honestly being overtaken, Google is overtaking social media, is what I should say. Social media is being overtaken by Google now. So most of the time now when people want something, they want results, they want a solution, they're going to go to Google, they're going to type something in, and the first couple of things they see, they're going to take action on. And I really want to point out some specifics about what you need to do to get ranked on Google that's far and above social media. Now, social media is great. You definitely need a social media presence. You definitely should have secured your business name or your brand name or your actual name. If you're a freelancer or a solopreneur or you're looking for a job or whatever, you should be securing not only your domain, but also all of the social media sites under a name that's similar to your domain name, if possible. If you have to add numbers or something like that because it's already taken, you can do that. Or if you want to put a little twist on it, that's fine. But keep these next 10 things in mind when you're doing a website of any kind or redoing a website or updating it. Obviously, setting it up this way from the get-go would be ideal, but I'm just going to get started with these top 10 things. So the first thing is that you need to have a secured website. So what secured means is basically when somebody goes to your site, it should say https:// your domain name. So you really need to have a secured site. Google ranks secured sites higher than non-secured sites. So if you do not have a security certificate on your site, Google's automatically going to push you towards the end of the list. And a lot of different website hosts offer this for a fee, or a monthly fee or a yearly fee, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to install it, and then you have to pay every single year and then make sure that you've installed it properly. And if your domain name's not with your host, then it's a bigger issue. I really, really love SiteGround for this. I buy all of my domains from SiteGround or Namecheap, and then I host everything on SiteGround because SiteGround provides a free, it's always been free. I can't guarantee it always will be, but it beats pretty much every place else. They provide a free security certificate. So if you go to makingitpay2stay.com/SiteGround, you can get in on a really great deal for hosting. They have fantastic customer service, and they offer the free security options for you so that your site will say it's secure, it's HTTPS, it's Google friendly, Anytime you want to sell anything from your site directly or integrate any kind of sales platform from your site, you'll automatically be ready, and Google looks on that favorably. Number 2, websites that are not mobile friendly. I see this all the time, especially in certain industries that are really not known for selling online. They're more like local brick and mortar businesses who rely on people just walking in. I see it with restaurants. I see it with construction companies. I see it with all kinds of things. Brands that aren't really well known, brands that are more local. A lot of them don't realize that when you hop on your cell phone and look at their website, it looks horrible. Things are cut off. You can't get to where you need to go. And Google penalizes websites that are not mobile friendly. So that's the next thing you need to do. If you had a website built in the past couple of years, it probably is mobile friendly, but you definitely want to get onto your cell phone and make sure everything looks good with your own website. If it doesn't, if anything looks confusing or cut off, then that's something you need to take a look at and remedy immediately. Even if you have to change your theme, which is common, because if you've had your website built 5 years ago or before that, you definitely need to update some things to make it mobile friendly. More than 50% of people, so that's more than half of your potential customers, whether you are a small business owner or a freelancer or you just have a resume out there on your yourdomain.com domain or yourname.com domain, then you still need to make sure that it's easily navigatable to everybody, no matter what device they're on. And Google will reward you for that. So keep that in mind. Number 3 is page speed. This is another thing I see. People put tons and tons of images. They don't use any kind of plugins to quote unquote smush the images, or they put really huge files, really big videos on their website, and the website has a hard time loading. If your website's not loading in less than 3 seconds, you've got a problem. There's a really great site I will link in the show notes. If you go to makingitpaytostay.com/Neil, Neil, Neil Patel is kind of the king of websites and SEO and page speed and all of that and so much more. I can't recommend him enough. If you find anything about him, definitely read it. If you can follow him, that would be amazing. He puts things into an easy to understand format, but he has lots of tools, which I will link in the show notes. Again, makingitpaytostay.com/Neil, Neil. And you can test your page's speed pretty quickly. There's also other pages out there. If you just Google what's my web page or my website's load speed, there's tons of different options out there. I do recommend you try a few different ones out when you Google that, because you can see what they're coming up with. And if it's taking longer than 3 seconds, you need to make some changes. And I will link in the show notes to some plugins that I recommend that you can add to your website to speed up your site. So remember, this isn't just about user experience, but the thing is Google values user experiences. So if Google thinks that your site is unsecure, it's not mobile friendly, or it's slow, they're not going to recommend it to other people. So Google's algorithms and robots are constantly pinging back and forth between sites, and they're going to value your competitors if it's faster, if it's mobile friendly, and if it's secure. So these are definitely things you need to do. Number 4 is a schema markup. Now this is a little bit technical, so I'm going to try to break it down for you without using technical language. A schema markup is basically like, give me a second. Let me think how I can put this. It's code. So you will probably probably need to have somebody do this for you, that you put on your website to help the search engines return more informative results for users. So it's basically what you put inside of your descriptions for every single page or every single blog post that gets pulled up on Google, and it usually includes keywords that people might be searching for on Google. If you go to Google and you just type something in, you'll often notice that there's a bold heading at the top in blue. Right underneath it is a green link. And then underneath that, there's sometimes a date with a description. Sometimes there's just a description. But that description is part of the schema markup. So you want to make sure that everything on your site is going to correspond with what people are looking up. I know that might sound confusing. This is probably definitely an area where you need to hire an expert who's familiar with that. But you should have it on every single page and every single post inside of your website. Now, if you have WordPress, Yoast SEO is a free plugin that you can use so that you can tweak your schema markup that's found on Google, and you just post your page or your blog article or whatnot. You scroll down, and underneath the Yoast SEO plugin box will pop in. You can edit your snippet, you can add keywords, and that will help you also get found on Google based on what people are searching for. You also want to keep in mind that you don't want to have duplicate keywords or descriptions. You want to make sure that every single time you decide, okay, if somebody's looking for this page or if somebody's looking for this article, what specifically would they be typing into Google? And then you need to go back, put that in Google Yoast's SEO area, then go back and look in your article and figure out where you can possibly add those keywords in or bold them or change your title to make it more user-friendly. Number 5 is your web page content quality. Now, we talked about getting found on Google. We talked about some content that you need to make sure you're including keywords with. But if it's not quality content, if you've got spelling errors and grammar errors and it's not formatted properly for people to scan, Google's going to kind of give you an F on that. So you need to be careful about making sure that the content you're providing is in line with your brand's mission and in line with other things that you have on your site. So if you're a recipe site, don't all of a sudden decide to start talking about marketing. Unless you have a specific category or your niche is marketing recipes, don't stray from the main mission of your site. So you need to focus on the quality of your content. Number 6 is web page content length. Now this is interesting because Google kind of ranks most things equally if your article is between 500 to 800 words. But if you have a few articles in there that are kind of like a cornerstone article, something a little bit longer, perhaps 1,200 words or more, they're going to give it more authority because they figure, they're really going in depth on this blog post. It's not just a general blog post. They're really going in depth. So try to include those once a month if possible, a little bit longer article, or depending on your content calendar, at least do it every few posts or so. So if you're only posting twice a month, at least do it quarterly. Add some really good content in there that's longer. Perhaps lists is a good way to get started. So if you could do an article that lists the top 100 recipes for pumpkin spice. I don't know. Something like that. You need to think about ways that you can dig deep, and then Google will say, okay, well, these people aren't just giving service information. They're really going deep with this, and we're pretty sure we should show this to more people because it's in depth. Number 7, social and local signals. So this is where it's really important that you link to all of your social media sites from your website. So whether you do it by icons at the top or footer or both of your site, both would be preferable, or embedded Instagram feeds or embedded Pinterest or Facebook feeds, you need to make sure that you're constantly linking to other places that you're linking about your website, and then those places need to be linking back to your website. So the more places your website is mentioned, the better, and social and local signals help. So if you've got social media sites that are talking about your local area, make sure that you're also mentioning that local area or your city and state when you're posting on social media, including a location, including it in the text, and also embedding it and adding it to your website. Number 8, quality backlinks. This is really important. When you have sites that are more authoritative according to Google than yours, so sites that have been around for longer, that have more content than you, that are known sites, and they link to you, you're going to get better views.
In case you didn't know, Pinterest and Instagram are the best affiliate marketing tools and ways to drive traffic to your website. But did you also know that Tailwind is the only approved Pinterest scheduling tool? That's right, the only one. So Tailwind tracked their users, and here's what they found.
Tailwind users get 6.9 times more saves generated.
Tailwind users get 3.7 times more followers added.
And Tailwind users get 4.2 times more pins published.
Pin faster at the best times for engagement with Tailwind.
That's right. So visit makingitpaytostay.com/Tailwind and schedule all of your social media marketing posts on Tailwind and Instagram, where all of the younger people are hanging out. Okay. Number 9 is optimized images. I talked a little bit about this before when I talked about page speed, but it's really important that you have your images compressed, or any kind of videos or large files that you're embedding into your website, that they're compressed with, there's a plugin called Smush that you can try out. If you go to makingitpaytostay.com/Smush, it's actually called Smush Pro, but it's free. I believe they have an upgraded option, but I haven't found that I've needed that yet. But what this does is when you activate this plugin inside of WordPress, anytime you upload a file or an image, it compresses it so it doesn't slow down your site. Especially if your site is very graphic heavy, you need to have this plugin. It doesn't take up a lot of bandwidth on your own site, so it's well worth just taking a moment, downloading that free plugin, and then you don't have to compress your images before you upload them to your website. It does it for you. So it really eliminates time and a big step that's necessary. The other thing about optimizing images you want to remember is that you want to make sure that you have your alt tags and descriptions and titles filled out to describe what your post or what your page is talking about. So if you go inside of WordPress and you upload an image, there's a section for you to add alt tags or alt descriptions and the title. Make sure that those things, they can be all the same, but make sure the words reflect keywords for that post or page to be easily found by Google, and Google will say, oh, somebody's looking for this. This image happens to be about this or of this. I'm going to show it to them. So it's especially important you do that every single time. An example would be if you're a local plumber, that you have in your images something about your city and plumber, or number one plumber in New York City, or whatever. Just make sure that you're putting things in those images that not only make sense for the page, but also make sense for people who are searching for your site. It also makes sense to include some pinnable images. Pinnable images are great for recipe blogs. So if you put several different images of a recipe that you are writing an article about, then you want to have several on there that are kind of the long rectangular shape. 600 wide by 900 pixels long is ideal. People can then pin your images to Pinterest, and of course use Tailwind when you are wanting to get greater website traffic through Pinterest. And if you do have something like a recipe website or an e-commerce site that you're selling things and you have lots of images, you really need to be on Pinterest. You can't miss out on that one. Finally, number 10 is domain age. Now, this should go without saying, but I notice a lot of my clients throw up a website and expect to have thousands and thousands of visitors within the first month or two. That just doesn't happen. It takes a long time for your site to rank. There are probably thousands, if not millions, of other sites that are similar to yours or other businesses doing the same thing as you. Even if you're in a very specific small market in a small town, you still are going to have competition. And if those people have had a website for longer than you have, then it's going to take some time for Google to finally rank your site. So be patient and don't give up, but be realistic. It takes several months for SEO to even start to work most of the time. So you need to be consistent, you need to be patient, and don't worry if you have a relatively new site. It will eventually get there, and you will be ranking above other people that come after you. So hopefully this helps, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't left me a review, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't left a rating, I would also appreciate it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, please go to makingitpaytostay.com/voicemail. You can leave me a voicemail. You can apply to be on the show. You can even ask me tips or send me an email about anything you'd like to hear about. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your ideas and see how I can best help you out. So until next time, this is my side hustle.